Mrs. Flo.
Yes, that Flo. Aren't you sweet?
Licensed phone.
Well, Stevie Wonder is speaking out following the acquittal of George Zimmerman. The musician announced during a performance in Quebec Sunday that he will not perform in Florida again until the controversial Stand Your Ground law is no more. He also said he would not perform in any other state or part of the world that recognizes that law. Civil rights leaders are planning vigils and rallies in 100 U.S. cities this weekend. They will take place in front of federal court buildings at noon this Saturday in such places as Los Angeles, Chicago, Philly, and New York. It's to protest the verdict and to push federal authorities to check for civil rights violations in this case.
Anyone walking, committing no crime, can be followed or approached by another civilian, and they can use deadly force and say it was self-defense. That is something that is frightening and cannot be allowed to sustain itself in our society.
The NAACP says 1 million people have signed their online petitions supporting an investigation by the Justice Department. And now to your money. Gas prices are up 15 cents in just 1 week in the Baltimore area. Drivers are paying on average about $3.63 a gallon for regular unleaded. At a Senate hearing, a troubling prediction from AAA.
The days of a national pump price below $3 is likely a thing of the past.
And nobody likes to hear that. So is there any consolation in all of this? Americans still pay a lot less for gas than drivers in other parts of the world, in most parts of the world. In the UK, for example, gas is nearly $8 a gallon. In France and Italy, almost $9.
Well, sports for you on this Wednesday morning. A truly all-star performance.
A Maryland lawmaker is looking to become the nation's first openly gay governor. Delegate Heather Misner is announcing today her candidacy. She's represented a part of Montgomery County since 2007 and has focused on health issues and natural gas drilling. If elected, she would become not only Maryland's first openly gay governor, or the country's first, but also Maryland's first female governor. A large piece of land in Harbor is now up for debate during a city council meeting. We're talking about an area called Harbor Point. The Exelon Corporation wants to develop the old Allied Signal site into a new Baltimore headquarters for the company. So what they're doing is they're applying for what is called a tax increment financing, which would essentially give them a tax break. However, people living around the site say the developer doesn't need a tax break and should put that money back into the community.
Fells Point Square is now.
Well, talk about bad timing. About 200,000 people in Prince George's County could be without water for the next 5 days. This outage comes just in time for the worst wave of the summer as far as heat goes. Water restrictions are now in place as crews repair a faulty water pipe. The restrictions are in place so that the fire department has what it needs to fight fires should an emergency arrive. People living in the area were warned ahead of time and they were told stock up on water. And now those living in PG County are bracing themselves for these days without the water.
My toilets, they are 1 gallon tanks. They just use 1 gallon of water to flush. So this, I'm hoping that this will last a little while. Luckily, the electricity is on. But water, you cannot do without water. So that was shock and awe.
County officials are opening up cooling centers, and they also have showers and bathrooms in those cooling centers. Tankers of water will be rolling through the neighborhoods to help as well. The violence continues in Baltimore City this morning. Police are looking for the gunman involved in 2 new shootings. Yesterday, a man was shot on Pressman Street and a woman was shot in the 2400 block of Madison Avenue. While there haven't been any arrests in those incidents, police say they are making progress in the fight against crime. Officers have arrested this man, Lamont Jones. They say that he is responsible for a quadruple shooting in West Baltimore last week. Police say Jones and another man were dressed in construction vests and hats when they pulled out a handgun and started shooting.
I think we have a couple more layers of this onion that we need to peel. And I think what you will see that it all stems from this neighborhood, this community, people who know each other.
Meantime, police are still searching for this guy, Daryl Anderson, the man they describe as public enemy #1. Anderson may have been involved in a home invasion that happened Monday at the Eagles Walk Apartments in Baltimore County. This morning, he is facing murder charges in a triple shooting in Northeast Baltimore from last month. Police in Baltimore County also say that Anderson shot and killed a man in the parking lot of the now-closed TV's bar in Parkville last year. If you have any information on his whereabouts, you're asked to immediately call police.
News time 4:35, and today the man man accused of killing a toddler is due in court. Eddie Tarver is expected to appear before a judge for his arraignment. Police say Tarver is one of 3 men who fired shots into a car, killing 1-year-old Carter Scott. The shooting happened in Cherry Hill back in May. The toddler and his father were sitting in their car when the men came and opened fire. The father was seriously hurt but survived the shooting. Police are still looking for the 3rd suspect.
Tavon White is the inmate accused of running a jailhouse gang and getting several Baltimore correction officers pregnant, and he plans to plead guilty. The plea deal shows that White will admit that he was the leader of the Black Gorilla family and is coming clean about smuggling drugs and cell phones into the jail. He's scheduled to appear in court next month. Under the agreement, White faces a maximum of 20 years in prison.
One parking lot
are straight ahead on this Monday morning. I hope you had a great weekend, and thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Pringle. Charlie Krausen is off this morning, but meteorologist Lynette Charles is here. And Lynette, this sounds like one of those days people need to pay attention and be prepared. Straight ahead on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Pringle. Charlie Krausen is off today. We're going to start things off on this Monday with a look at your weather because it is going to be downright hot out there. Here, I'll talk about bad timing. About 200,000 people in Prince George's County could be without water for the next 5 days. This outage comes just in time for the worst wave of the summer as far as heat goes. Water restrictions are now in place as crews repair a faulty water pipe. The restrictions are in place so that the fire department has what it needs to fight fire should an emergency arrive. People living in the area were warned ahead of time and they were told stock up on water. And now those living in PG County are bracing themselves for these days without the water.
My toilets, they are 1 gallon tanks. They just use 1 gallon of water to flush. So this, I'm hoping that this will last a little while. Luckily, the electricity is on. But water, you cannot do without water. So that was shock and awe.
County officials are opening up cooling centers, and they also have showers and bathrooms in those cooling centers. Tankers of water will be rolling through the neighborhoods to help as well. Boston's famous fugitive, James Whitey Bulger, pled not guilty to 19 murder charges. Testimony in his trial already sounds like something out of a screenplay to a movie. John Martorano took the stand yesterday. He's the former hitman who says he decided to turn against his friend when he learned that Whitey Bulger was an FBI informant. He went on to tell the court details on how he and Bulger would carry out hits. Bulger's defense team set the tone for their case from day one.
I mean, his own lawyer got up, Anderson, on the opening day of the trial, and in his opening statement, he said, my client is a bookmaker, he's an extortionist, he's even a drug trafficker, but he didn't kill those women, and he wasn't an informer.
Well, that's not the picture the prosecution is painting. FBI surveillance video viewed from the court shows a young, confident Bulger, a man they describe as a hands-on killer who shot a mob associate when he couldn't strangle him. His trial is expected to take up to 3 months.
New challenges now facing.
News time right now, 6:33. A story that may make you do a little research when choosing a daycare for your kids. A daycare professional in Ohio was accused of serving short stacks with extra Benadryl to make kids at the daycare sleep. Tammy Epley is accused of feeding 6 children pancakes laced with antihistamines. Police say that she used the technique on kids she considered hyperactive at her home daycare facility. Epley says that she gave the kids Benadryl on occasion, but only with their parents' consent. I'm sure we'll hear more about this story. All right, stay with us this morning. Did Lil Wayne behave like a big jerk? This morning, Howard County police are hoping you can help find the guy. Now they're releasing a clear photograph of him. They say he's a pervert, exposing himself to women at a Columbia Target. And ABC 2 News' Linda So is here with the details and the surveillance video of this guy. Linda.
Police say the man...
Matthew Fortiz, the fan beaten at Camden Yards last month, has been released finally from shock trauma and is now at a rehab facility. But his road to recovery is said to be just beginning, and it is expected to be a long one. ABC 2 News' Cherie Johnson is live this morning with more on the details. Cherie. The location of the former Teamsters head, Jimmy Hoffa, could be discovered today. Federal agents spent Monday digging around an area of Detroit, a suburban field. They're going to go back and do the same thing today. The person who tipped off officials is said to be a very credible source. General General Motors is recalling nearly 194,000 SUVs because of fire danger. GM says water can get into the electric module of the door, causing it to short circuit and possibly catch on fire. Take a look at your screen because it's a huge recall, and we've listed everything right there. It includes a variety of cars. We've posted the list to our website if you want to check it out. Vehicle owners will be contacted, and they can bring in their vehicles to a GM dealer for repairs.
Pretty good job.
It can make your pictures look vintage or black and white. Now, Instagram may be looking into adding a video option. On Thursday, they're expected to announce that you can begin taking and sharing short videos. This is likely in response to the video service Vine that allows you to share 6-second video clips. New this morning, there's no doubt about it. We use social media for all kinds of things, to stay in touch with family, friends, to connect with new ones, look at pictures, you name it. Now it's being used in a whole new way, and this way is incredible, to save lives. ABC 2 News health reporter Linda So explains how this is all happening. Linda, what's this about? Well, fighting wildfires is certainly a dangerous business, and sadly, we have reported on stories like this before. Here's a look at some of the deadliest tragedies in the U.S. that have claimed the lives of wildland firefighters. Back on August 5th, 2008, 9 people were killed when a helicopter crashed shortly after taking off with a load of firefighters heading back to camp in Northern California. In August 2003, 8 contract firefighters who had spent weeks fighting an Idaho wildfire were killed on their way home when their van collided with a tractor trailer and exploded into flames. And in July 1994, a fire near Glenwood Springs, Colorado, killed 14 firefighters who were overtaken by a sudden explosion of flames. Remember, you can always get the latest on this story in Arizona by following us on Twitter. It's 4 minutes after 6 right now. In about an hour, divers will be looking for the pilot who crashed into the water near Ocean City. Happened on Sunday afternoon as many people were enjoying a day at the beach. Crews believe that they have recovered some debris, but they have a long day ahead of them today. And ABC 2 News' Cherie Johnson is here. So, Cherie, this is a small plane. Do they know if it was just the pilot on board? Violent protests in Egypt claim the life of a college student from Maryland. Andrew Pochner's family says that he was stabbed to death while he was watching demonstrations in Egypt. The 21-year-old is from Chevy Chase and was attending Kenyon College in Ohio. Pochner's family says he was spending time overseas studying and teaching English to children. He planned to return to school in the fall.
He wanted basically the underdog to have a voice. Those who might have been harmed, or those who might not have as much of a chance as others. Those were the folks that Andrew cared about.
Pochner majored in religious studies at Kenyon. His mentor says he was there and wanted to bring peace to the Middle East. Well, starting today, it's going to cost you more to get on the road. You're going to be hit with higher gas prices when you fill up, not only at the pumps, but also at the tolls. ABC 2 News' Linda So was live this morning to break it all down for us. So, Linda, how much more are we talking about? How much are we going to have to pay?
Well, at the pump, you're going to be paying 3.5 cents more.
Developing story out of Ocean City where authorities are trying to figure out what caused a small plane to crash into the ocean. This morning, Ocean City's mayor says that the pilot is presumed dead, and officials believe that the pilot was the only person on board when this plane went down. Charlie is at the live desk this morning with the latest on the crash, plus the details on the rescue workers and what they're planning to do now. Maryland. Breaking news out of Arizona, a massive wildfire is to blame for killing 19 firefighters.
And driving just got more expensive, why you now have to dig a bit deeper in your pockets if you want to get around town.
A small plane crashes off the coast in Ocean City. We're going to tell you what crews are doing this morning to try to figure out what happened, plus why they say there are no survivors. Those stories straight ahead on this Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Pringle.
And I'm Charlie Krause, and thank you for starting your week off with us. Let's get right to meteorologist Lynette Charles, because Lynette, if last week was any indication, weather is going to be a big factor again.
The uprising in Egypt has claimed the life of a Maryland native. 21-year-old Andrew Pochner was stabbed on Friday evening while witnessing the political turmoil taking place in that country. He's from Chevy Chase and was in Egypt for the summer. Pochner's family says that he was teaching English to young children and improving his Arabic. Pochner's family has asked for privacy during this very difficult time. 2 minutes after 6 right now, and this morning, police in Howard County are hoping a picture of a man leaving Target will lead to an arrest. They say that this guy was exposing himself to women. ABC 2 News' Linda So is here with the details and the picture of the suspect. Linda, this Target is a crowded place, especially minutes after 6. 8 people hospitalized at a group home in Baltimore County were sickened by carbon monoxide. Fire crews detected high levels of CO when they arrived at the home. BGE checked the place out, though, and they couldn't find a leak. That's why the State Department of Environment tested for other hazardous materials. Test results showed trace amounts of hazardous chemicals in that home. The Pentagon is expected to announce a plan today to expand jobs for women in combat. Women may begin training for jobs in Army Ranger and Navy SEAL units by mid-2015. In January, then Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta ordered all jobs open to women unless a specific exception was requested by the military services. In 2012, the Army opened more than 14,000 positions to women. The latest move could open another 6,000 jobs to women in the Army.
Well, it was a giant leap for women everywhere.
Governor O'Malley is heading overseas later this week. He will be in Ireland and France with his Business and Economic Development Secretary, Annapolis Mayor Joshua Cohen, plus a delegation of Maryland companies on a trade and investment mission. The governor will address the Dublin Chamber of Commerce on Thursday. A whole lot more on this Tuesday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Megan Pringle.
I'm Charlie Krause, and it is a hot start to the work week. Yesterday is kind of soupy and saucy out there. Yeah, you're laughing, aren't you?
What did you call it today? A 3-shower day?
Yeah.
Now to the latest on a crash in Ocean City. This morning, authorities are trying to figure out what caused a small plane to crash into the ocean yesterday as thousands of people were sitting on the beach. They saw it all happen. ABC 2's Cherie Johnson joins us with the latest this morning. Cherie.
Well, thank you.
Another high-profile politician is throwing her support behind Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown as he sets his sights on becoming the next governor of the state. Today, Mayor Stephanie Rawlings-Blake is expected to announce her endorsement of Anthony Brown. Several published reports say the announcement will happen at the Avenue Bakery on Pennsylvania Avenue in the city. Others who have given their support of Brown include Governor O'Malley and Congressman Elijah Cummings.
Well, some good news out there. If you drive a Ford Taurus or a Mercury Sable, Ford has agreed to fix the car's sticky throttles for free. This affects model years 2000 through 03. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration started the investigation last year after Ford received 100 complaints about the throttle sticking. 5 crashes were reported as a result of that, but no significant injuries. Ford says the throttle cables can be damaged or disconnected during maintenance.
A new elite team of state troopers are hitting the roads on the lookout for drunk drivers. They're part of a program called the State Police Impaired Driving Effort, or SPIDER. They're going to be making their official debut tomorrow. The troopers will be out in full force over the July 4th weekend. The 4-year program is part of the state's Towards Zero Death campaign, which is aiming to cut down the number of drunk driving crashes in the state.
All right, time now for one more check of that forecast with Lynette. What do we need to know?
It was a violent weekend in the city. At least 18 people were shot in close to a dozen separate incidents throughout Baltimore City. And ABC 2 News' Linda So is live this morning at police headquarters with all the details. Linda, how many people died out of all those shootings?
Among those shot, 8 of them were killed. Police have not yet officially commented on the violent weekend in Baltimore. We hope to hear from them today, but family members are speaking out. Last night, more than 100 people got together for a vigil for one of the victims. On Friday, Andre Witherspoon was shot and killed on Decatur Street near North Avenue. He was one of at least 18 people shot over a violent weekend in the city. Again, 8 of them did not survive. Those who showed up for last night's vigil say they want young people to hear their message. The violence has to stop.
It could be your brother. It could be your sister. It could be your father. It could be your uncle. But I'm telling you, the devil comes to seek, kill, and destroy.
As for motives and suspects in these shootings, police are still investigating. We're live at City Police Headquarters. Linda So, ABC 2 News.
As we learn more about these deadly shootings and the victims, we're going to bring you all the details on Twitter. So we wanted to encourage you to follow us at ABC 2 News. You can use the hashtag GMM. The violence this weekend was not contained to the city. There was also a deadly shooting to tell you about in Harford County. Saturday night, when police arrived in the 1800 block of Grempler Way in Edgewood, they found a 24-year-old man named Quentin Quentin Arvell Stokes shot multiple times. He was airlifted to shock trauma, but he died from his injuries.
Detectives have not identified a suspect. They are looking to identify and locate a person of interest that was seen last night running in the area of the shooting.
If you have any information about the shooting, call Metro Crime Stoppers. Here's the number. It's 1-866-7-LOCK-UP. Happening today, a special honor for a Baltimore Raven. Laquan Williams will be recognized by the Baltimore City Council for helping students athletes. Now, just this weekend, he hosted a free football camp for 8th and 12th graders. That included workshops on the college recruitment process. It was sponsored by fashion retailer DTLR. Also today, the Heat will be honored in a parade throughout the streets of Miami. This is the second year the team won the NBA championship. At this year's parade, though, spectators will not be allowed to bring backpacks in light of the Boston Marathon bombings. The Heat won the championship game in Game 7 against the Spurs. The final score, 95-88. Tonight, the O's take on the Indians at Camden Yards, and the O's are coming off 3 straight losses against the Blue Jays. The most recent loss was yesterday, 13-5. This puts the Orioles now 2 games back in the AL East. The Red Sox still lead the division. Again, game time tonight, I believe, is 7:05. Lynette will have more on how the weather is looking in that time of evening just in a bit. Well, thank you, Jesus. That is the phrase Daredevil Nick Walenda said quite a bit during his latest stunt, and you can see why. We have the video of the death-defying walk just ahead. It is Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. Hope you had a great weekend. I'm Megan Pringle. Now, before we get to the developing story out of Baltimore City that we just told you about, we want to get right to the weather because you got to plan your day. So here's meteorologist Lynette Charles to let you know what you're looking at. Starting today, it's going to cost you more to go on the road. You're going to be hit with higher prices at the pump and also at the tolls. ABC 2 News' Linda So is live this morning to break it all down for us. So, Linda, a lot of people are wondering as they head out the door, how much are we talking about?
Well,